I'm Tommy D. He's Moke Hamilton. We're going to talk some Knicks and Nets. Who's the best player in New York?
Very good question. I think at this moment in time, I would have to go with Deron Williams, just because if you look at his entire resume, he's led the Utah Jazz out of the first round at least a couple of times. He actually beat Carmelo Anthony's Denver Nuggets in the playoffs previously. And he does a better job of keeping his teammates involved. Who do you think is the best player in New York?
Far be it from me to argue with a law student, but I'm going to say right now, I get it. New York is a point guard town. We haven't had a great point guard in this town in terms of, from the Knicks' perspective, since, who knows, maybe Mark Jackson, right? But I think Carmelo Anthony's saying the right things. I get the playoff record. I understand all that. I think coming off of his summer campaign in the Olympics and what he's saying, I think he can be a complete player. I'm going to say right now it could be Deron Williams, but I think by the end of the year it'll be Carmelo Anthony. Who's the best coach in New York?
Again, I think I'd have to go with Avery Johnson. And it's funny because I'm the Nets guy, so now all of a sudden I'm taking the Nets with everything.
It's obvious.
By the way, I'm a former law student now at this point. But anyway, I would have to go with Avery Johnson, mainly because of the track record that he has with Dallas Mavericks. He was the fastest coach to 100 victories, and what he accomplished with that team, getting them to the NBA Finals, getting them over the hump, that's something you can't take lightly.
I agree. At this point, Mike Woodson has a lot to prove in terms of adjustments. He has a terrible playoff record, was not great against the Heat last year. I agree with you. Coach Johnson is the pick right now. The best offseason move for either team?
Well, I think for either team, you'd obviously have to go with Deron Williams re-signing with the Nets. But let's throw that out there. Me personally, what I mean is let's throw that in the garbage because that one's so obvious. Joe Johnson, I'm very high on that acquisition. Though Johnson is grossly overpaid for what he did last season, he is one of the best shooting guards in the NBA, and he's going to give the Nets another option on the wing, which they need with Deron Williams.
Pablo Prigioni, I'm going to say. No, Marcus Camby I'll go with. Adds depth up front, which is what they need and should provide the veteran leadership for Amari Stoudemire. Who is the biggest surprise this year?
The biggest surprise, I think, is going to be Mirza Teletovic. I've had the opportunity to watch some film on this guy. He can shoot. He can finish in the basket. He can put the ball on the floor. He's a very complete player, 6'9", 250 pounds, but he has the versatility moving around the perimeter. Who do you think is going to be the biggest surprise for the Knicks?
It's a good question. Rasheed Wallace could be a factor come springtime. Who's going to have the most wins this year?
I would have to go with the Knicks. All things considered, I think that the Knicks are a deeper team. I do think there is something to be said for the veteran experience and savvy, even though they have a couple of 40-year-old guys on the roster. I see the Knicks winning maybe 50 to 52 games. I think the Nets are going to be around 48. What do you think?
I agree. I think the Knicks are the better team in New York right now. The Nets have some chemistry issues. We'll see what happens as the season moves forward. Moke is always great stuff.
Thank you.
And remember, to get all your information on the Knicks and Nets, check out the KnicksBlog.com, part of the SNY.TV blog network, and SNYNets.com. For Moke, I'm Tommy. We'll see you next time.